Hi and welcome back to Google Analytics Basic Principles. Right, so again, we're back at the main dashboard of Google Analytics for this test account. So all the previous lectures I've gone over, it was all basically sort of following on from each other, and ultimately this all leads to sort of how many sales and how much revenue you make from the products you have on your website, or if it's even just sort of like a lead generation or a lead capture and so on instead of actual e-commerce products. But either way, it works just as well no matter which way you do that. So it all leads to conversions. So what you want to do is click on conversions on the reporting section, and then you want to hit on e-commerce and product performance. Okay, so on that particular test account, these were the products that were selling, and so this is very useful. This page, in fact, it's more than useful. It's invaluable, just like some of those other pages. So you have, of course, your revenue, the total revenue amount for that, for the highest selling product, unique purchases, which is total number of purchases, and quantity. You've got your average price. So if you're constantly, or even if you've change the price once or twice, it shows you the average price that is sold at. You've got your average quantity that you're selling and refund rate. And the main sort of two columns I wanted to really point out are basket to detail rate and buy to detail rate. So basket to detail rate is the percentage of people that add a product on into the shopping basket from the going into the product page, and the buy to detail rate is the percentage of people that actually purchase a product from going into the product page. So I mean, you can prioritize the purchase to detail rate or basket depending on sort of what you sort of regard highly. Obviously we all regard purchase, that's what we want, but sometimes you might not have enough purchases to be able to use that data, and the basket to detail rate is closely related to purchase, and obviously you're going to have a lot more baskets, add to baskets than purchases, and you can possibly just use that data. So also another thing you can do is if you just select the particular column, it just sorts it by highest first. So in this instance you can see it looks amazing, but there's no purchases. Well, there's one purchase there. So what you want is something that can at least have some amount of data on. So yeah, if you just do it for sort it by purchases, and here you can see certain products against your average. So all of these products are higher than the average, so you can say that these are performed quite well. I mean, it doesn't mean that the average you see there is what you're looking for. I mean, your average or your sort of what you're looking for could be a lot higher than that, but if you just use the average as like a sort of base for what you're looking for, so you can see some of them are a lot better than others. That one there, although it's only got one purchase. But yeah, you can sort of look at that straight away and see which particular products have been your main earners. It might be that you stopped selling a product for whatever reason, and you've just gone back to it just to look at the data on that product, and this data just stuck out, and it showed you that that was one of your best selling products. So you can possibly go back to that product, start promoting it again, and so on. What also you can do is drill deeper into this. You can select secondary data. So first of all, you can go into users, and then you go all the way down to region, and it shows you what particular region you got most of your sales from. So if you want to drill down into that, so this particular e-commerce store was just focusing on US predominantly for like 95% of adverts. So if you just look at the regions, states within the US, you can see Arizona, you made 2 sales from there. So if you just ignore Scotland, and you can see all of these made 1 sale. But then you can look further along and what had the best basket to detail rate, and you can see that there. Tacna had a good basket to detail rate, Indiana. So obviously the volume is very low because of that test account. You want a lot bigger volume to be able to sort of rely on this data. But if let's say that was 2,000, 1,000, 3,000 and so on, and you had these type of numbers, then of course you would look at 100%, 50% even Obviously, these numbers would be a lot lower because of the more sort of data you have, then there'll be more realistic figures here. But you could easily, it was just to show you the sort of where to look for this data and the sort of patterns you want to be looking at. So you can drill down into region, and you can, based on that region, you can possibly make a new ad campaign just focusing on that particular region. Alternatively, you can go into, if you go into time and day of the week name, so there's like information you would have never thought of, but if you look at it, most of your sales came on the start of the week, end of the week, Sunday, Monday, you have another Monday, and then you have the end of the week, Friday, and you have one in the middle. So I mean, what you could do is you can start all your campaigns, let's say Monday, like Monday just after 12 midnight, all your campaigns, since you can see that a lot of sales came on a Monday. Or alternatively, you can do it on a Wednesday if you want, so you can go further and you can see that the campaigns on Monday, or for example like the campaign on Wednesday, you got much higher basket to detail rate than any other day, so you can just purely base it on the basket to detail rate rather than total number of purchases, just because you might have a lot more volume, and like I was mentioned previously, the figures are much better, so you can, because of the larger volumes, you can rely more on those particular figures. So there's so much you can do with this, and it was just to show you how useful this Google Analytics is when you drill down into it, and there's all manner of data that you can find that you didn't think of otherwise, and it's free as well. It's your own data, so it's just so important to have this and to use it, and it's like leaving money on the table if you don't basically use it. So that's basically it, and I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and I hope you're able to use some of the information or some of the key sort of hints and tips from this to sort of further your own e-commerce stores or any other type of online stores. Okay, so that's the end of this lecture, and I will see you on the last lecture.